Your goal should not be to look successful. It should be to build true wealth. And I learned that lesson through a lot of my own mistakes. So today, I'm gonna be breaking down 4 reasons why looking poor and keeping a low profile can actually be one of the smartest wealth building strategies that there is, and how it keeps you out of the endless cycle of upgrading your life instead of growing your money. Reason number 1, there is a stress tax on fake wealth. You've probably seen this play out in your own life. We hit a milestone, we get a raise, a promotion, a bigger paycheck, and then our standards almost change immediately. And for a really short period of time, it feels great. But then it fades. The excitement wears off, the dopamine kind of settles, and now you're comparing yourself to a new group of people. And this is what is known as the hedonic treadmill. And the concept really is that you adapt quickly to new purchases and the thrill disappears faster than you expected it to. No matter how much you spend or how many highs you chase, you eventually return to the same baseline level of happiness, regardless of the stuff that you own. From a money perspective, this is really dangerous because every time we raise our lifestyle baseline, we lock in higher expenses, but we don't lock in higher satisfaction. That's why people can double their income and still feel just as stressed out, maybe even more stressed out. In fact, around 78% of people report feeling stressed trying to keep up with the lifestyle of their social circle. What used to feel like success becomes your new normal. Let's go even deeper about the hidden costs of all of that stuff, because not everything you buy adds value to your life. A lot of it just adds noise. Every physical item that you own comes with a mental contract that you didn't really realize that you signed. You're agreeing to clean it, to fix it, to insure it, to store it, and ultimately to think about it. You buy the bigger house, now you've got a bigger roof that can leak, and you got more AC units to break, and a lawn that constantly needs mowing. On average, homeowners spend about 300 hours every year just maintaining their home. And if you do the math on that, that's 12 and a half days out of the year, which is like 3.5% of your entire year. Think about that. We confuse net worth with our self-worth. And if you're not careful, what you really end up with is net stress. If something doesn't meaningfully improve your happiness, your health, or your freedom, it really is not an asset. It is a drain on your energy. Reason number 2 is that you lose your freedom of choice. When you keep chasing a lifestyle, your freedom disappears slowly, but it compounds so fast. Roughly 60 to 65% of US workers say they feel trapped or shackled to their jobs, largely because of financial pressure. And this is not just a US problem. Globally, nearly 2 billion people work in informal or unstable employment, often not because they want to, but because it's a last resort option for survival, not a free choice. And here's what that looks like in real life. You can't take breaks, you can't pivot, you can't really walk away from work that you hate because you ultimately need the paycheck. And I've fallen into this trap myself many times. I was working nonstop and making good money, but I wasn't keeping nearly as much as I should have. And over time, I realized I couldn't step away. I had to be there early, stay late, and say yes even when I wanted to say no. I wasn't a CEO. I was an employee of my own overhead and my own expenses. And there's a serious cost to that when you zoom out. On average, people spend about 90,000 hours working over their lifetime, which is roughly 1/3 of their adult life. And the main takeaway from all of this is that once you stop spending on things like expensive car loans, designer clothes, and fancy trips, your required income actually drops drastically. When you need less, work has less control over you. And that is how you can earn freedom. It's also why some folks retire in their 50s while others work into their 60s and their 70s. Reason number 3, it creates liquidity for opportunities. And this one's a big one. So most millionaires didn't get wealthy from their earned income. They built their wealth through assets. And assets require timing and capital. Opportunities don't really show up when it's convenient, right? Like we can all agree on that. They show up during uncertainty. We've all heard the saying of Warren Buffett, right? Opportunities come infrequently. When it rains gold, put out the bucket. The problem is that most people don't have a bucket. They have a lot of expenses and a lot of overhead. When the market crashes or real estate takes a dip, the guy with the least Lambo is panicking. He's in fight or flight, right? But the guy driving the 10-year-old truck, he's not panicking. He's buying the Lambo driver's rental property at a 30% discount. One example is looking back at the pandemic. The S&P 500 dropped like 30%. If you would have bought that dip, knowing Warren Buffett's other saying, be fearful when people are greedy and be greedy when people are fearful, then when there's all this fear in the market, if you had 10 grand sitting on the sidelines because you were liquid and you weren't blowing all of your money, you could buy in, and in a matter of 6 months, I guarantee you make 50, 60, 70% on your money in situations like that. That is what liquidity does. It turns economic crises or even bad headlines into clearance sales. But if all your money's tied up in a lifestyle, then you're forced to sit on the sidelines when the opportunity of a lifetime actually walks right in front of you. Because cash is ultimately leverage. Some of the best opportunities are really simple. People needing quick cash, sell assets below market value every single day. I own a big real estate company where we literally specialize in buying assets below market value. If all your money is tied up in lifestyle, car payments, oversized homes, constant upgrades, then you don't ever get to play offense. Staying low profile creates liquidity, and that ultimately creates peace of mind, and it creates options. Reason number 4. Compounding does all the heavy lifting. And this one is the one that most people completely underestimate. But small, boring decisions repeated consistently turn into massive outcomes. Here's a simple example. If you start with just $100 and you contribute $100 a month and invest it for 30 years at the S&P 500's historical average of about 10% over a long enough period of time, you don't end up with a couple of grand, 10 grand, 20 grand. You end up with $199,137. And think about that, it's $100 a month that we're talking about. Like, what if you did 500? What if you did 1,000? Can you imagine? It came from consistency and not sabotaging yourself with lifestyle upgrades along the way. That extra $100 a month is usually what people spend trying to go out and be with the who's who's. And when you don't spend it, it compounds into options later on in life. So look, I'm not saying that you should never enjoy your money. I'm not saying that you need to live like a monk and we have to go back to like this minimalism, thing forever. Once you're actually wealthy, and you have a lot of money in savings, investments, and you have a lot of liquid cash and real security, then you can buy all the nice things that you want. I'm just saying, buy them with cash. Don't over leverage yourself. Don't go into massive amounts of debt trying to look cool or keep up with the Joneses, but instead buy them from a position of strength. There's a huge difference between driving a luxury car because you actually like the car that you're driving and driving one because you need to feel validated by society. Looking successful and building real wealth are rarely the same thing. And if you want freedom later, then you need to resist a lot of the upgrades right now. That's why they call it delayed gratification. If you liked the video, I really appreciate it. Go ahead and watch this video right here. I think it would really help you. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.